Hi there, welcome to Transcorona Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2026 Wildwood 40Rlb. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. If you notice to your right, you're pre-mounted for a collapsible stair system. If you'd like to get set up with that, you can just contact the parts department and they'd be more than happy to help you out. Then coming around to the driver's side of the unit, we're going to start off this back corner here. This is going to be the first of your the first of your 6 stabilizer jacks. You're going to have one in each corner, as well as one on each side based in the center. The way they work is you just hook up your 3/4 inch drive tool to the 3/4 inch drive nut. Of course, once your unit is already level, run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot does contact the ground, just give it another 1/8 turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see having the unit right now away. As an little bit of additional information, they aren't leveling jacks, they're just stabilizing jacks. And if you're running them up or down with an impact, just keep in mind how much torque you put on. This is going to be the first of a few sewer dumps here. This is going to be for your galley tank. It's going to work the same way as these front ones. We'll go over the front ones just because there is more of them. Right up above my head, it's probably going to be important to get a little step ladder for this unit. I'm about 6 feet tall and I don't even come close to reaching it, but that flap, essentially you want it undone for whenever you get your campsite, so that way you can evacuate those fumes. But whenever traveling, just making sure that you do snap it back into place. It's going to stop any excess dust from getting inside the unit, as well as any critters. Here's your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service, you just thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines without the need to run your water pump. And right next to it is the fresh water fill. So if you're boondocking, your campground doesn't have water turned on yet, you can siphon water inside here, and that is what fills up your fresh tank. You got your standard 50 amp twist lock connection. You're just taking over that silver strip there. It lines up with this silver strip on this side. Plugging that firmly into place, 8th turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you're gonna have your standard 50 amp plug end. Now, a lot of campsites, especially here in Manitoba, may not have 50 amp service, so that's why we do include this 30 amp dog bone adapter. Keep it in mind whenever you're using that 30 amp dog bone adapter, you're going down in power, so you won't be able to run 2 air conditioners at once. You can only run 1 air conditioner at a time, but if you are on that 50 amp service, you can of course run both at the same time, and you're at your full power. You're gonna have another middle set of stabilizing jacks I was telling you about, and then right to the right of it, you do get dump for your fresh tank. Pull on the white valve, that's what drains your fresh tank. Coming to the left, you got your main sewer outlets, of course. You always want to start with this black one, as it's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your black tank, and then you can come behind that with either one of these grays, as well as one of the galley back there. It's going to be a typically cleaner water filled from either your sinks, your showers, or something like that. Right up top here, you get your service port for your hot water heater. Really only a couple things you need to worry about. This power button turns power to the thermostat inside. Then you got this pressure relief valve. So because this is a tankless system, if you're doing the winterizing yourself, it is a little bit different from your standard one. There's no bypass valves behind it. You do run antifreeze through the system. Once you're done winterizing the system completely, just crack this pressure relief valve and leave it cracked open for the duration of winter. So that way, once that antifreeze does start expanding during those cold winter months, it has a place to go and doesn't crack inside the coils. Below the floor here, you get your 2 low point drains. So if you don't want water going stale or stagnant in the lines because you're leaving it for a while, or you're finishing your winterization process and you just want to let most of the antifreeze out of the lines, which is of course recommended, you just crack those guys open. Then you got your black tank flush here. So let's say you're noticing a moderate panel issue, an odor around the unit. It's also just good to use it, of course, after every couple uses. You just thread a garden hose in there, just making sure that you do read the caution sticker. It's very important that you have your sewer hose connected and, of course, the valve open. Reason being, if you're pushing pressure inside of that tank and that pressure's got nowhere to go, it could expand that tank to the point of cracking. You got your furnace exhaust. Whenever your furnace is running, this will be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. You got your exterior shower here. So if you need to quick rinse off or wash dog off or something, it's going to be where you do so. It opens up with your standard 751 key. Again, it's going to come included with your unit. You're going to notice this last sewer outlet here. It's got no valve attached to it. Reason being, this is for your washer dryer combo. If you were to get set up with it, there's nothing equipped with it right now. It's just pre-plumbed for it. So if you were to get that, of course, set up, it's going to be very important that you leave this cap off whenever you're using it. That way you're allowing that washer to drain You get your storage compartment outside here, lifting up that guy, opening it up. You get your tool for running your stabilizer jacks up and down. And then right here, you're gonna come with your little standard starter kit. Comes with a 10-foot sewer hose, 15-foot water hose, some other miscellaneous goodies, including a 15-amp park adapter. Whenever you're using the storage compartment though, just be mindful. You got your Versatilt bed ram here. You're not gonna be wanting to block or affect it in any way, shape, or form. So just be mindful that it is there. Coming around to the front of the unit, right in front you get that battery box that houses your battery. And then underneath this cover, typically you can get what you need done just by loosening off these tabs right at the top. Flipping the cover open gives you access to both the tanks, but just for the purpose of the video, get this right off, slide it out of place. Get your selector valve on the front of your regulator here. With it pointed to this way, you're obviously drawing off this tank. If this tank were to go dry, close it off, flip it over to the other side, and then you can start drawing off this tank. And like any standard barbecue, it's just counterclockwise, nice and slowly to open up the flow of propane. Now around this side, you got your entryway door, which we're going to be entering through today. So those go into the bedroom. And then you get your patio door entrance, of course. So now to get inside, you're just taking that stair set, pulling it down and towards you, for the last step down. That'll allow you to open up your door and get inside. Taking a step on inside, off on your right is going to be a couple light switches just so you can see what you're doing, and then you got to open up the door to get to your main living space. Once you're into this main living space, the monitor panel is just by your little bar here. Big light switch in the center turns on the main living space lights. It's also on a dimmer, so you could go bright or dim. Wherever you leave it, that's where it'll stay. Monitor panel system up top, pushing the button tells you the corresponding tank level. Then of course you got some awning LED lights which turn on outside, and some accent lighting, which is going to turn on some accent lighting behind the slide outs. Water pump switch draws out of your fresh tank. Right down below you got your slide out button. Now all the slide outs do run off the same button. They go out based off of whichever is the lightest. So typically bedroom slide will go first, your couch slide will go second, and your kitchen slide will go third. But of course, before you ever run any of those, I know sometimes it can be difficult just seeing everything, but sometimes during travel, things do tend to shift. So it's always a good idea just to do a quick visual inspection, making sure nothing's in between the slide out and the wall, going to cause any binding issues. And of course, just on the outside, making sure you have enough room for all the slides to go out all the way. Once you do that, you can just push the button. Again, the bedroom slide's probably going to start making its way out first. And then it'll follow with your couch slide and your kitchen slide after that. How you'll know those slide outs are fully extended is when you hear the motors wind up and the lights will dim and you can let off the button. So those slide outs are now at their full extension. Now if you want to be extra cautious, you can just run your hand out between the slide out and the wall, making sure that there is that seal there, sealing out any water. Now below, you do get your thermostat. This is going to control your rear thermostat. It's also going to be the main thermostat for the unit, so you're going to get access to your furnace. Now before you ever try to fire your furnace, I always recommend purging the system, and I'll go over that once we do get to our stove. And because this unit is equipped with propane, you got your LP detector right here near the ground. So if this guy does ever start going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit. Open up some windows and vents just to ventilate things out a little bit. But if you push that button once, it illuminates itself. Push it again. You can go between your different modes. So turn it over, you go to cool. Now you choose your fan setting. Whenever you're choosing your fan setting, I always recommend leaving that auto on. That way it's an on-demand system, so it'll kick the air conditioner in and out as needed based off of what you have the room set to. But you can run that on either high or low. But if you do run it on high or low without the auto, just know that the fan for the air conditioner is going to continuously run until you actually manually turn it off. So once you push enter, if the room's set to 23, and it is 23, obviously it's not going to kick in, but if you turn that down to 17, hit the enter button, you hear the air conditioner kick in. It moves all its air through the ceiling ducting you have throughout, and your furnace does move all its air through the floor portals you have throughout. Push the button again, you go between that, it's going to fire up your furnace. Now your furnace, again, runs off propane. It's going to be important you have the system purged first, and it moves all its air through the 4 portals you have throughout the unit, and there is only 1 fan speed. And whenever you turn the furnace off after running it, it does run for an additional 3 minutes just to allow itself time to cool down. Another cool thing Coleman included is this cool plus heat option. So based off of what you have the room set to, it'll depend on when it kicks in. But again, it's going to be very important that you do have that auto option on for it to function properly. One more time after that, it'll get you dry, which is just dehumidifying mode. And then you just cycle that back over to off and you're all done. Awning control on the wall, hit and hold the extend button. The awning's going to start making its way out. Of course, just having to make sure that your door is closed before you try to run your awning. Door is closed 90 degrees, that way your awning arm can travel freely. It's not going to bind or get caught on the door at all. Push and hold the awning extend button, the awning's going to start making its way out. Once that awning is at its full extension, you're going to see the back of the little flap coming down. Sometimes the flap can get stuck, so you might just have to retract it a couple of feet to put it back out again, just for that flap to come down. Now whenever you are putting this awning out, it's going to be very important that you keep counting the wind speed. Once the wind speed does start picking up, you don't want to make sure you bring that in, that way you don't run into lifting your fabric or something your arms. Now that you see the back of that metal tube, you know you're at your full extension. Now before it starts raining, you can take any arm, front or rear, hold it onto the center. It's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to now run off. Now if you like that angle better because it's going to allow for more shade underneath, you do the same thing with the front arm. Just make sure that you do push these arms back to straight before you bring the awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. To get that to come in, it's just as simple as holding the in button. Awning's going to start rolling its way in. Once arms contact the side of the trailer, the motors will automatically cut out. Now, if you had to roll that awning in while it was wet, it's not the end of the world. Just try and remember at your next earliest convenience to roll it back out and allow it time to dry off properly. That way you don't accelerate the growth of mold or mildew inside of there. And now that we're approaching the side of the trailer, once the arms do contact the trailer, like they just did, the motor's automatically cut out. We'll take a step heading toward the bedroom first. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. One quick pull will allow them to retract back up. In your bedroom space, it's going to be pretty important that you have that versatile tilt bed all the way up for whenever you bring your slide out in. That way it doesn't run into the dresser. Just like that. Right up here, this is going to be probably where you're going to want to mount your TV. It's got your cable satellite outlets right here, as well as a couple plugins. You're going to notice this black button. This black button turns the antenna on the roof. Now that's also going to improve radio frequency and cell phone frequency. So we do recommend leaving it on whenever you're using the unit. But if you're not using it, try and remember to turn it off, as it does draw battery power. Tons of storage throughout this unit. Just whenever you are using any of it, just be mindful of drains, water lines, and things like that. You're not going to be wanting to affect any of it. Coming down here, you got your main fuse and breaker panel. Breaker trips. It'll sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. You got all your corresponding fuses on your right. There'll be a little red indicator light in case one does blow. Now, if you pick up at the foot of your bed, lift does give you access into that front storage compartment. So you could also put other things inside here if you wanted access from the inside too. Inside closet number 1, you're going to see these 2 hose outlets. Now that is prepped for your washer dryer. Now even if you don't have a washer dryer installed ever, it is very important that you do winterize those lines regardless if you're not using them. And the rest of the prep is going to be inside of this closet. Now if you'd like to get set up with that washer dryer combo, it would just be as simple as contact your parts department. They can put together a quote for you to get it installed. You're going to see this thermostat here. Now this thermostat does only control your front air conditioner inside the bedroom here. It's not hooked up to the furnace at all. It's going to work the same way as that one in the front did, or the rear did. So taking a step, we take a step into the bathroom. Beautiful bathroom, tons of storage all around. You got your vent lid on the wall here. To operate it, you do have to first turn it on, and then you can hit that vent open button. The vent will automatically open on its own electric power. Now you're gonna notice we're opening straight up into the atmosphere now, so if we're gonna start raining, it would get wet inside of here if you forgot it open. And if you were to start traveling with it open, you do run the risk of damaging it. So if you want to get set up with a cover that goes over top of that to protect you against rain coming in, and of course a little bit of added protection against hail. If you'd like to get set up with that, just contact the parts department. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Other than that, it's a pretty standard bathroom, minus the fact of your main GFI plug being on the wall here. You got test on the bottom, reset in the middle. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I would check. You got your fire extinguisher right here for the unit. It's pretty simple. Unclip it, pull the pin, and shoot, kind of just like home. Inside here, you got this crazy big pantry space with tons of storage, and in addition to that, on the wall, your thermostat for your water heater, power button on and off to turn it on and off, up and down to change your set temperature, Celsius and Fahrenheit with the press of a button. Now, this system does work a little bit differently than your traditional one because it's a tankless system. It operates off flow, so as water's flowing through those copper coils, there's a big flame in the center that does heat it. Now, the way you want to set your temperature is where you find the water the most comfortable with just the hot on. You don't want to have to be turning on the cold at all to blend it, because that then throws off the flow for the hot water. You could get cold spots. So you want to set this to exactly where you find it comfortable with just the hot on. And that would be that. Over here, you get your bar fridge. Right beside it, you're going to notice this cupboard here has an antifreeze inlet sticker. Popping that guy open, you got 2 screws there in the bottom. Remove them. That is where you get access to your water pump for winterization. Little bar area. You get your own little bar sink. Tons of storage all throughout. Patio doors, of course. In the kitchen area, you get this beautiful sink. Whenever you are using this sink, you can use it a couple different ways. Turning this knob, this is going to be your control for the unit. As you can see at the top, the first bit of the turning is going to be cold water, and the last bit of the turning is the hot water. If you're turning that to the left, it operates this garden sprayer down here to spray off any sort of vegetables if you had any. And if you turn it to the right, it turns on this main head faucet. You got a soap squirter. Bottle is screwed on just from underneath, so you can unscrew it to fill up with your favorite dish soap. Right here, this is a cup sprayer. Now this cup sprayer is pressurized at all times whenever the water is running. So if you have a young one that's going to press on it, maybe try and find a cover for it, because as soon as you do press on it, it's going to squirt water. It'll probably go right to the roof. So just be careful with that, although it is great for washing cups. Underneath there, you get tons of storage space. Then you get to your kitchen. It's pretty standard. Microwave just like home. It's also a convection oven. Then you come to your stove. So if you remember earlier, I told you about purging the propane system. So whenever you turn the system off at the front of the unit, it does allow air into the system, especially if you disconnect one of the bottles. Now the quickest, easiest way to purge that out is by using your stove. I always recommend firing your stove first thing. The reason being is you get to decide how long you run the gas for it, how many lighting sequences it goes through. If you went to go to try and fire up your water heater or your furnace, those will only try lighting themselves a couple times if they don't sense flame, because there's no gas at it yet. Could throw a fault code. If you don't know what the fault code means, it's going to throw a little frustration in there. So I always just recommend coming to your stove, lighting it up quickly. Now, of course, just whenever you're doing so, it is gas, so be careful with it. If you're running that gas valve on, just making sure you're hitting that sparker every few seconds. That way you're just avoiding any buildup of gases and a minor combustion. But as you can see, it does fire right on up. Sometimes it can take a few tries. Just be patient with it. For lighting this oven, it's the same thing. Turn it over to the high/pilot option. Push and hold that knob in. Open up this guy. Hit your sparker a few times. Once that pilot down below lights and is able to hold its own without you pressing in on the knob, you can turn it up to your desired temperature and it fires right on up. Residential style fridge. Again, not much I need to show you there. Temperatures, the controls for the temperatures are just right down below here. Entertainment center, you got your TV mounted on the wall. Noticing this travel strap, it's going to be very important that you do latch this up, and the same does go for the chairs that are sitting inside the dinette. You're going to see travel straps on them. They're there for a reason whenever you're traveling, doing them up. That way they're not slamming around, causing any damage. Down below, you got your sound system. Again, it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. A and B and C speakers. A is interior, B is exterior, C isn't actually hooked up to anything. You got your fireplace down below. Power button on the far right. The button to your left of it changes your flame color. The button right in the center changes all your different rock light colors. And then you do get your heater option. You push it twice, it'll go into low. You push it again, it'll go into high. Power button on the far right to turn it off, and then on the far left you got a timer that goes anywhere from 30 minutes to 9 hours. So it's talking about storage. Really cool thing about this, open up the handle, swing it open, you get another crazy big storage area. All your hookups for everything that's on this wall is also right behind here as well. Makes it nice and easy. So you had some extra guests you weren't intending for. This does fold out into a couch, into a bed. You're just having to remove the cushions from up top here. Grab on the foot of the cushion, pull it towards you. It's gonna fold out like a hide-a-bed. You got 2 legs you gotta fold out, and you can make yourself another bed. 2 recliner chairs here. Other than that, that is it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.